So do you guys remember what we did last time? Did you try? Did anybody try this assignment?
Yes, sir.
Hello, you guys there?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I did the assignment.
Do you face any issues?
No, sir.
Very good. Anybody else tried it? I assume no. All right. So let's get back to the report that we were working on. We had reached the point wherein we are able to look up the DRG description. Now we want the count of hospitals. Okay. When I look at this data, I want to find the count of hospitals providing this specific procedure, that is 039. Okay. And technically, if I look at it, I filter on 039, I am getting the value 40. I need that count 40 because each of these hospitals are unique. That is what we want to do. We want to count these hospitals. So like you have,
Sir, you haven't shared your screen.
my bad, sorry. Is the screen visible now? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So like I was saying, we built this report till last time and we reached till the point where we are looking up the DRG description based on the DRG code. Now we need to find out the number of hospitals. We want to find out, we want to count the number of hospitals based on this DRG number. So if I go to the data sheet and I filter, okay, first I'm going to remove the filter. When I put the filter, if I just filter on 039 over here, you see on the left hand side 40 of 5419. So there are 40 rows and each of these providers are unique. Each of these providers, each of these hospitals are unique. So the ask is we want to find out, we want to count the number of hospitals. So technically I just need to count the number of rows which has a 039. And in order to do that, any guesses what formula we could use? Any idea?
SumIf.
SumIf will give you the sum values. There is no number over here. You want to count how many times the 039 is. You want to count that number. So instead of SumIf, we have to use CountIf. Make sense? So count, if I have to count So you see count over here. It tells me count the number of cells in a range that contain numbers. If I go to count A, count the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So if I try this, I will get the value 3 because there are 3 cells which are not empty. So I'm counting that text. Like you have sum if, rather like you have sum, there is count, wherein you will count the number of cells which has numbers. And if I try count on this, I will not get anything. I'll get 0. Now if I put a value over here, I'm going to get the cells which has numbers. Okay. I have to use an if statement as well. So I will use count if. If you notice over here, there is count if. Count the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. Right? So that's what we're going to use. So the best way to use any formula is to go, if you don't know anything about the formula, go to the formula tab or ribbon, select insert formula, search for count if. I have count if. It is very simple, range and criteria. Okay. So I'm going to go to the data section. I'm going to go to the cell, the column which has the DRG. This is my DRG value. And the criteria, for the criteria, I'm going back to the cell and the criteria is equal to this. So you notice you get the value 40. Make sense what I did? You want me to repeat it? Should I repeat it or you will be able to try this? Can you try this? So here if I enter 46, I'm going to get this value 29. Is the right value. It shows at the bottom left. Are you guys able to try this or you need Need to repeat this.
Yes, sir, we got it.
Very good. So how do you think we should do the next value? How do you think we should find out the next value? Any thoughts? No, you want to find the average. You don't want to find the sum. The ask is average charge amount. So to understand this better, if I filter on 039 for that matter, okay, and I want to find the average of the average covered charges. Okay, it's not sum, by the way. So the average is 2232.12. The sum is 892. So we've seen sum if. But here I want to find out the average cost of treatment for this procedure. You understood the question now? Any thoughts what it could be? Can you try and see if you find a formula, something related to it?
Average if
Yes, average if. There is a formula like you have sum if, you have count if, you have average if. Okay. In the same way, the range will be in when I go to data, I'm going to choose this column. I can choose the entire column, make it easy, but I'm going to give a specific range. Criteria is again this value, and the average range is the column on which you want to perform you want to take an average of. So here I will have the average covered charges. So what is important is the range and criteria should start at the same position. Okay? The range and criteria should start at the same. By the way, I think there is a mistake. I need to remove the filter first, otherwise I wasn't getting any value. Let's try this again. Range is this column. Criteria is this value. Average range is this column. Right? So I'm getting this number 67123. Okay? And if I put 039, I get the number which we were seeing earlier, 22322.125. So again, if I filter on 039 and I check the average covered charges, this is what I was getting over here, 22322.12. That's what I've got on the report, 22322.12. Now, like I said, what is important is this range which is there, right? That should be same. And many a times people make a slight mistake in this. So let me give you an idea about that also.
Sir, so the range doesn't have the filter, right?
Meaning?
Like when you're selecting, you
Yeah, there should not be any filter in your data, otherwise it'll become an issue.
it should be all the DRG codes and not only 039.
Yes, all the DRG codes. So it's like I have A, B, C, D, like this. Okay. Alright, I have something like this, and I put some numbers over here. And between, right? I want to find out the average value. So this is, let's say, name, and this is value. I want to find the average for A, B, C, and D. Now what happens? Sometimes we'll write the formula average. If I choose the range like this, criteria is this, an average range, for some reason I have chosen like this. What will happen? All right, it's going to give me a number, it's going to give me an average, but that average is not correct. Why? Because now the first value of A is 550, the second value of A is 312. That is how it's taking it. It's going to compare this range column with this and try and match it. So if I look at it, if I take this value, I take this value, I take this value, and I take this, you see the average is 977.75. It is matching the numbers based on these ranges. But in actual, the range should be starting from here. So if I make one mistake in the range, so basically these numbers, right? A2 to A17, B2 to B17, that row number should be same for both the range and the average, whatever, when you're taking that average. Make sense? It should be this. You understood? Everybody got this?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now we need to find out the max charge amount. So here, when I'm looking at this data, I want to find out the max of this value. The max and min. So 12,591 is the max and 34,000. So I'm basically finding out a range. I'm finding out a range of, I know this average and I know this deviation basically. That's what I'm trying to find out. How below is this value and how, or how, what do you say? Near is the max value to the average or min value to the average. That will just give me a viewpoint. So any idea how we could calculate the max charge amount? I know that there is a, so practically there is a function called as max. Okay. I do max. If I just do max like this, I will get the max value. If I do min like this, I will get the minimum value. But I want to again find the max value for this DRG. Thoughts? Any idea how we could do that? D max. Okay. What is D max? Yeah, this could be used. I've never used it though. It could be, but this is on a database, it seems. So you have this max if yes, that is correct. But let's try this max if s. Okay. Let's see if that gives me an output. Max if s. This is also going to give me, hopefully this will give me the value. Maximum. So yeah, the criteria range is this, and my criteria is again this. So I get that value. Max if s. So let's see for 039, what is the max if s? So what is the max value? 34.338. What am I getting? Yes, 34338. So I given a max range, I given a criteria range, and then I given my criteria. On similar lines, we can try min also. We want to find the minimum value. We have min fs. So logically, I have the same thing. I need to remove the filter. I want to find the minimum value of the charges. So I select the charges column. My criteria range is where my DRG numbers are there. And my criteria is this. Alrighty. Format is to 2 decimals if I want to. I can put a dollar amount if I want to. Were you guys able to get both of these formulas?
Yes, sir. Done, sir.
Okay. So there are only two things remaining over here. How do I add the current date?
Today.
I'm going to try a shortcut. Control and the semicolon sign will give me the current date without the formula. And if I do Control Shift and semicolon, it will give me the time. Okay, so just try this. Press Control and the semicolon in your cell. Select a cell first. Control and the semicolon. the symbol, the key which has the semicolon or the colon, right? Just press that. And then if I do Control Shift, that same key, I will get the current time.
Sir, can you repeat it again?
Yes. Let me do this. I have this keyboard. I have my cell selected over here. I'm going to press Control and the semicolon. Basically, I'm pressing this and this symbol. Okay. Now, next, what I'm doing, I'm pressing Control, Shift, and this. I get the time.
Okay, okay, thank you.
All right. So we have created a second report as well. Let's see what's next. Okay, so the third assignment is enter a city name and find out the number of hospitals in that city. Right? So to do this, we are going to try something different. To understand this question, let's go back to our data. Our data is all right over here. It's telling me enter a city name. So I select a city. Let's say I select Adrian. I need to remove the filter first. Okay, so if I see this city, how many hospitals are there over here? Can you tell me? Talking about VLOOKUP?
Both.
Yeah, VLOOKUP will work for text also. So if I have data like this, and I have ID over here, instead of this ID, I want to look up based on the name. So I have name. I want to find out the marks based on the name. So I give Harry. We'll do VLOOKUP. Look up this value. It's just that my array has to start from here. I mean, the table has to start from this column. So the first column has to be having the name. Column index number is 2 and I don't give anything. So I get 82. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Coming back, we want to find out look up the city name for a specific city, find out the number of hospitals. You understood the question? I select any other city.
So we can use counter, right?
Right, but if I use countif, how many rows will I get over here? So if I filter on this city of Alma, I want to find out total number of hospitals. So if I use countif, I will get the value 47. But in actual, the number is 1. I have only one hospital in this city. Understood the question? You guys understood what I was trying to say? There are duplicates in this data, in the sense. Ideally, what I would want, and there are multiple ways of doing this. Okay. One way, so let's try this. Let's try one way. You said countif. Let's try and see if I can use countif. Okay. Hospitals. What I'm going to do, I am going to copy this, the hospital name, and I'm going to copy the city. So what should I do? I have copied this data. What do you think I will do now? Or rather, what should I do? I said there are duplicates in this. What should I do?
Remove duplicates. The in data, yeah.
Right. Now I can use count if. Okay, now if I use count if, let's say I add a report 3. Copy this. Now I can do count if on this particular value. The range. Zero. Because Albany is not there in my data. Now if I change that, I choose any of them. Let's say I check Pontiac. There are 3 rows for Pontiac. So let's check whether that is correct or not. There are 3 hospitals in Pontiac. This is one way. But there is another way of doing this. Okay. And we are going to try and use another methodology. When you go to insert, okay, there is an option over here. So we're going to see something called as a pivot table. Right? All this report which we created, we'll try and create this report first using the pivot table option. I'm going to go to data. I have selected my entire data range. I have selected my entire data range. and I go to insert and I click pivot table. When you're creating a pivot, each column in your data range should have a heading. If there is no heading, the pivot table is going to throw an error that there is a missing heading or something like that is going to throw an error to you. So each column should have a header, that it should have a name. The column should have a name. When I select this range, there is an option new worksheet. So I click on new worksheet. I'm going to say report to pivot. Okay. I'm going to move this over here. This is my report. DRG description. Like this. So what I do, when you create a pivot, on the right hand side, you see a option, you see some fields. And these fields will be seen only when you click on this particular box that you see over here. If I click on this box, I see this pivot table fields. You see certain boxes over here in terms of filters, columns, rows, and values. So if I just take this value of DRG, it goes into the filter. But let's say I take it in the rows. I get the rows over here. I add the description. I will get the description over here. Okay. But let's try and first of all, let's try and look at what is asked over here. We want average count of hospitals, average charge amount, max charge amount. So let's take average covered charges. And if I give DRG, if I take this DRG number, so I put it in columns. So this 039, I get it like this. I get this value because I put it over here. I don't want to put it over here. I'll put it in the values column. So I get these two columns. Let me repeat this. What I did, I take DRG, drop it into rows. I take average covered charges, I drop it into values. So I am getting by default sum of average covered charges. Now, if I click on this value settings, I see this option average. So now I'm getting average of average covered charges. This is what I wanted. 039. Right? What is the other aspect we want? Max charge amount, minimum charge amount. Okay. On max charge amount, minimum charge. So let's again add another column. We'll again drag average covered charges. I go to value settings. I make max. I get the max charge amount. I'll again drag average covered charges. And for that, I will change the value to minimum. Okay. If I again drag average covered charges, now I'm going to change the value to count. Make sense? I am getting the same report from here. I am getting the same report that I had, and whatever I had, I am getting it in that way. So I put this description over here. I put this DRG in my filter. And when I click this, when the DRG is in the filter, you see this line at the top of the table. What I will do, I will click on this. I will say select multiple options, select all, and just select 039. Now I get this value. I get the same report that I was getting over here. I am getting, so here I have chosen 246. So let's choose 246 here. Instead of 039, I'll choose 246. I'm getting the description. I'm getting that description. The minimum charge amount is this. I can move it on the right if I want to. One of them will become average and right? So I need this average. I can literally drag it on the left, so it will come here. This count, I'll drag it on the left, it will come here. So I am getting the same values which I saw, which I got over here, but I was able to do this very quickly using a pivot table. Can you try this? Do you want me to repeat this? What I did? Do you want me to repeat the steps?
So can you repeat the DRG part?
The filter. Okay, so first of all, I put this DRG in the rows. Okay. Is it coming only one by the way? Should come all. I drag this DRG into the rows. So I get a row for each of this DRG value. Then I take average covered charges and I drop it into values. When I click on values, over here I have this value field setting. And you notice there are a lot of options over here. You have variance, standard deviation, count numbers, product and everything. I'm going to choose average. So I get this value. I'll choose another value. I'll just show it for a couple of them. And I choose count. So I get the count. I can again drag this at the bottom. And I choose max. And I again drag it down over here. I can choose minimum. Now in our report, we are entering a value over here because I want to see the value only for one particular DRG. So I need to mimic that same thing over here. So what I do, I first of all, I add the description over here. I move this DRG into filter. When I move this DRG into filter, at the top, I see this option. I see a drop down over here. And using this, I can choose. So if this box is not selected, you will see all of them like this. You will see the filter like this. If I say select multiple items, I can make this into a drop down and I can choose 246. So I will get only one row for a particular DRG.
Sir, can we add Vlookup to the DRG part in the pivot table only?
How? Meaning?
Meaning, I mean, right now, if we want 039, we'll have to click on the filter button and then select 039, right?
Right.
So instead of that, can we add something like VLOOKUP? Acha, you can type.
Yeah.
So where you can directly type and it gets the data rather than selecting it from the filter.
Yes, you can do it both ways. 287. Okay.
Right, okay. Got it.
All right. Any questions, guys, till now? We have only 5 minutes. So I'm not going to do anything new. Any questions, anybody? So for this report, I want you to think if there is any option where I could use the pivot table and find out this number. Yeah, think about it, and we will talk about it in tomorrow's session. Okay, guys? Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.
So